Hi there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. And during this time of lockdown, Janice and I have committed to bringing you great content. And our group of experts that we refer to for their specific expertise in topics that we don't necessarily cover here at the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. One of my favorite people in the industry is my good friend and my colleague, and soon to be certified integrative movement specialist,
That's right.
Dianne Bailey.
Hello. You're in my basement. I was just telling Evan that we're set up to do all kinds of recording down here, and we're actually going to do some Tai Chi with each other today.
And I just want to share real briefly, for those of you that don't know Dianne or have not heard the story, I don't know how many years ago it was. We'll just say 5 years ago. Yeah. Janice mentioned to me, she's like, oh, you got an email from Dianne Bailey. And you and I didn't know each other personally at the time. We just sort of maybe heard each other through the industry. And she's like, you want to read this email? It's a really, really well-written email and a nice email. And she's really complimentary about the Integrative Movement System. And she said, you guys, this system is very similar to Tai Chi. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I kind of blew it off. So, because what happens in the industry, is people are like, oh yeah, we're talking the same language, but basically what they're trying to do is just get me to sell their product or their program or some new, gizmo or something like that. So I kind of blew it off, and then Janice a couple weeks later, again, she's like, you should really read this email. It's really great, and she's very complimentary of the Integrative Movement System and the principles: alignment, breathing, and control. So finally, she read me a section of it. Because then I'm like, all right, you better read me a good section, because if I'm not interested, I'm not going to read it. And then she read me something, and I was like, holy cow, you were really the first person, Dianne, that reached out to me directly. And what was really great is you have a background in Tai Chi, and you'll introduce yourself in your program here in a moment. But you're the first person that actually used the language we use in the Integrative Movement System. You started to talk about the foot tripod and how that relates to Tai Chi. You talked about the core and how the thoracopelvic cylinder is very similar to the columns that you create in Tai Chi. You discuss how breathing is part of the Dantian and how that helps to improve posture and movement. And you instantly, you got me with that. And then once we started talking, I'm like, wow, I found a kindred spirit, and I've always wanted to know more personally about Tai Chi. I've heard about all the health benefits. So I'm so excited to finally work with you. And actually, I'm going to say finally, it's been a couple of years now. You and I did a course last year together at your facility out in Denver, Colorado, or I should say Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. We're in Denver. Yeah, it truly is amazing, Evan, that we speak the same language. Yes, it's a little bit different in the way we say it, maybe, but we're focused on the same things. Right. And one of the things I was thinking about this morning was you talk about the integrated movement system of helping people move in an optimal and efficient way. Okay, that's really our goal. It's not perfection. It's not trying to make people perfect. Right. It's trying to help them move in an optimal and efficient way. And Tai Chi is, we say it just a little bit differently, but it's effortless movement. And that's the same idea. It's effortless movement. It's not about making people perfect. It's not about helping them create a better set of muscles or a muscle group. It always amuses me when somebody says, well, does Tai Chi help my glutes? And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not the focus. Okay, we're not separating the body out into separate pieces. We're integrating it into a whole and using it in an optimal and efficient way so that we can move effortlessly. So that's really what Tai Chi is about.
That's awesome. A great analogy between what we're trying to do with our clients, because we often say to our clients, they're like, you're trying to make me perfect. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to make you as perfect as you can be. There's a big distinction between being perfect and being as perfect as you can be, as optimal and as efficient as you possibly can be. Right. So I'm so glad you said that. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into Tai Chi, and why you created the Open the Door to Tai Chi system?
You know, I started in martial arts in 1994. So I've been a martial artist for a very, very long time now. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was grappling, rolling around on the floor. I moved into Taekwondo. I did Krav Maga. I did all kinds of different martial arts. I did continue in Taekwondo. I'm a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. Along the way, about 2000, in the early 2000s, I decided I should try Tai Chi, you know, as piece of the puzzle. And at first, I've told this many times, I did not like it because it was so slow. But I've persevered with it, and it has truly helped me continue to be the best I can be. Okay, that's really the goal. And it has, you know, this is the year I turned 60. So I still like to punch and kick things.
Wow.
And Tai Chi, by adding Tai Chi, has allowed me to continue the harder form of exercise that I like to do. So it's a great complementary. It helps my body be the best it can be. And the reason that I created Open the Door was, in my own journey, it was very frustrating to find instructors. The whole martial arts community has kind of held Tai Chi tightly to the vest, and they don't want to allow, you know, they let you, make you think that, you know, you have to travel to China to become an instructor. You have to learn for years and years and years and years before you ever teach. Well, that's bunk. In a nice way to say it.
Well, that's strong language, Dianne.
But I want people all over to be able to benefit from Tai Chi. And the only way we can get that is by having instructors out there. So my idea was to teach people how to teach Tai Chi so that they can be in their community and helping their community be as healthy and as helping their bodies be the best they can be. There's so many benefits of Tai Chi that we need more instructors, and that's why I developed the certification program. It helps people. Benefits of Tai Chi. Sorry, I'm just going to jump into it.
Get right into it. I know you're going to show some things, but yeah, talk about the benefits of Tai Chi, because when I was researching, or I've been researching for the second edition of Corrective Exercise Solutions, and so I came across some Tai Chi articles, and it's really amazing, like how much research is actually behind Tai Chi, and if I dare say, there's probably more research behind Tai Chi than any other sort of exercise approach. So if you wouldn't mind talking about a few of the real benefits of Tai Chi.
And yeah, that. I always say this too. It's not just Dianne talking because I like Tai Chi. These are research studies that thousands and thousands of people have been studied, thousands and thousands of, you know, actual research studies have proven that Tai Chi improves balance. It helps reduce the risk of falling by improving your balance. It helps you reduce stress and anxiety, which right now is huge. It helps lower blood pressure because of that, allowing you to get into that parasympathetic system and lowering that stress and anxiety. It's been proven to improve executive functioning, your brain health. It's because you are using your body in different ways, but it's also because you have to be mindful. It has to be a mindful movement. You can't just be standing on a treadmill and letting your brain be thinking about something else. You know, yes, that helps cardiovascularly, but it's not a mindful movement. Tai Chi has to be mindful, and that's part of that brain connection, that brain health improvement. There are actual studies where people that are doing Tai Chi actually develop more stem cells, which is huge, because that's helpful in healing, right? The particular study that comes to mind was done in Taiwan, and it was all about people with adrenal fatigue. and that they were trying Tai Chi with it, and it actually helped develop more stem cells, which helps heal their blank cells, so to speak, right? And they can actually be used by the body to help heal the adrenals. So there are many, many, many benefits to Tai Chi, and I want to help people get over that fear of doing something different, and that it's so slow. Right, it's really not exercise, but it is. You know, I understand that feeling. I was there. I understand that feeling, but you have to get past that and realize what you're doing for your body. I always say it's a piece of the puzzle. So it's not everything that you should do. I'm not a Tai Chi bigot where that's all you should ever do. There's a big word again. But, you know, when I wrote that email to you and to Janice about the similarities between Tai Chi and the integrated movement system, it was just so clear to me, because you're not just picking apart a body and saying, here, let's build the bicep, or here, let's build the quads. You know, you're interested in helping that body be the best it can be. And that's where there's so much crossover with Tai Chi and with integrative movement. So
that's awesome. And we're so blessed to know you as a person, because we love you as a person. We love your husband as people, as individuals. And we also love what you're doing in the industry. So next, we're going to get into some of this. And if we have time, I'm not sure how much time you need for this, but I also want to talk about the business of it, because people are like, oh, this is great. Tai Chi is great, but I don't have any time or place for it. But right now is actually the perfect time to add Tai Chi into your online community, because when you can do it online, people are stuck in their houses, especially older people. They're not coming back to clubs, you know, regardless of when things open up. They're not coming back to your club. They're not the first wave of people coming back to your club. So they need you now more than ever, and to create programs and to an approach that they can do in their house that's safe and effective.
Absolutely. And this is, Tai Chi uses no equipment. There's no special equipment. You don't have to have a lot of room to do it either. So it really is the perfect exercise for the season that we're in right now.
Awesome. Awesome. So the three things we're going to discuss here and how it relates to better balance, better coordination, posture, and movement, as well as improved confidence and also strength, is we'll talk about the feet, and we'll talk about the sort of the core, the dantian, as well as the columns and how they all relate to rotation, which is basically life. Walking is all about rotation. Most of our clients that fall, it's not because they need more strength or more balance per se. They actually need to learn how to ground their feet, align their columns, and then rotate around their dantian or center. So can you take us through those three components?
Sure. I'm actually going to stand up, and I'm going to demonstrate a little bit. So let me get rid of this chair. And, you know, you talk about the foot tripod and the basis of your movement. In Tai Chi, we talk about the foot tripod as well. We talk about being rooted and grounded. And being rooted and grounded means to have those roots grow out not only deep, but to grow out wide. And you're always talking about that foot, of how you don't want them to be gripping. Toe gripping is bad. We want the foot to be relaxed and spread out. And that's kind of what the whole imagery of roots growing wide in Tai Chi. We want ourselves to feel as if we're rooted, but that doesn't mean that we're stuck to the ground. That doesn't mean that your feet are just there, right? Your feet have to be fluid, right? And that's what walking is all about, right? You have to be fluid. When I talk about being rooted and grounded, and we talk about balance, it's important to understand that as you're walking, you feel that energy from the ground, you feel stable, you feel that support. When we do Chi walking, we rock back and forth, and then we allow all that weight to come forward on this forward leg, and we let the back leg become empty. And then you move yourself forward. And the principles, they integrate. And you're moving from the dantian, you're keeping your columns intact, and we'll go through those too. But if you think about allowing yourself to be rooted and grounded, I can't move slowly without allowing myself to be more stable. I have to understand that weight shift. And now I can choose to step forward. I don't just fall forward. I allow my body to be centered, and then I can move. With the feet being your stable basis, we talk about energy in Tai Chi. There is energy in the ground. That's not a woo-woo concept. We talk about, you know, the ground reaction force as an athlete, right?
Correct.
It's important to understand that energy and to feel yourself be as rooted as possible. It's very difficult if you think about a tree, okay? If a tree is like this, okay, it's not a very healthy tree, right? And it's not going to be, it's easily pushed over, right? The being rooted and grounded, you have to be thinking about your columns. There's 3 columns, one straight down the center of your body, one through each shoulder, through each hip. And as I told you earlier, that keeps this thoracopelvic cylinder in alignment. That's what alignment, breathing, and control, it's all about that in Tai Chi, because we want those shoulders above the hips. We want this whole cylinder to be aligned, because when you're moving, if you're moving like this, you're gonna fall, right? And who created the walker? I'm gonna kill him, right? Who said this is a good way to walk?
Right.
That's not a good way to walk. We want those columns to be intact. Now, again, we're not talking about perfection, but being able to move in as relaxed a way as possible is actually what happens when you have good posture. We talk about being suspended from the ceiling, from the crown of our head, as if you're just, let your body just fall naturally into alignment, right? Which is the same thing you talk about. You talk about making sure that your head is up, that you're not this forward head that is like this, right?
That's falling forward, right?
Right. You're suspended from the ceiling, from the crown of your head. Posture and columns and keeping that thoracopelvic cylinder in alignment not only allows us to be breathing properly, but it allows us to move properly. If you're suspended from here, those shoulders are down, they're right above the hips. If you're suspended from here, if you have this ramrod military posture like this, you're actually suspended from here.
Correct.
This is not a relaxed position at all. It's not good for the body. It's not good for your breathing. It's not good for your being rooted and grounded. Yes, we're suspended, but that doesn't mean the feet don't have a rootedness to them. So if you think about all that language of Tai Chi, it actually is helping your body to move in an optimal and efficient way, because your body is relaxed. When your body's in alignment, it can be relaxed. It can move easier. You mentioned the dantian. 2 inches in from the belly button, 2 inches down. That's the center of our energy in Tai Chi. It's also the center of your balance.
It is.
you have to be able to move from the dantian. There's a movement called wave hands like clouds, that if I were to just move my arms, okay, all of a sudden now my shoulders are going to get tired. I'm going to start to force my way through that movement, which is not good.
Correct.
If I move from the dantian and rotate on that central column, now all of a sudden my arms can be very relaxed, and it's the movement from the dantian that's actually guiding that movement. This is how we relax in Tai Chi. We're not thinking about the limbs, we're thinking about this whole cylinder right here. This is where our movement comes from. This is where we're breathing. It allows the rest of the body to just be light. If you think about being suspended, you're light, you're agile, you're not heavy-footed, you're not just kind of clumping through life like that. If you think about, go back to our Chi walking. If I step forward and I think about moving from my dantian, I have to move my dantian over this base of support in order to be able to move lightly. So this is that rotation. You think about regular walking. No, you're not going to be walking through the grocery store like this. Please do not, especially with a mask on.
Right.
But if you think about regular walking, like you said, it is all about rotation. Your body has to rotate. If you don't rotate, right, you end up walking like this and you look kind of like Frankenstein.
Actually, if I can interrupt you for a second, Dianne, that's exactly why people fall, is because they lose rotation and they start moving more side to side. Like we refer to that as a weeble wobble, exactly what you're showing. You're more likely to fall that way because you've lost the ability to rotate and counter rotate.
Right, and bringing that thoraco-pelvic cylinder over the base of support. This keeps everything in alignment. And that's how we move in Tai Chi. That's how we teach movement in Tai Chi. I'm gonna do one more just to push this all together. Being rooted and grounded, allowing my body to be suspended, allowing everything to fall naturally into alignment, keeping my columns intact. This movement is called pushing Chi. It's a very simple movement. And if I'm moving from my dantian, I'm keeping those columns intact. If I'm thinking about moving from my hands, right, this happens. Well, if you think about the intent and purpose of a push, right, you have to think about the realness of what are you doing. It's not just an exercise. If you were to push a car, right, you would need to be rooted and grounded in order to have that energy to push that car. You would need to be able to move from your dantian, from your core. You would need that breath to be supporting what you're doing if you're actually going to move that car. If you do this, right, you're the one that's going to fall. You're the one that's moving, not the car, right? If you keep yourself in alignment, you have much more power. You have power to give instead of wasting the power on bad alignment and bad body mechanics. That if people can just understand that it helps you have more power to be relaxed, you have more power in what you're going to be doing. And that's just moving through your life. It doesn't mean, fighting someone necessarily or pushing a car, but that's the example of if you have your body in alignment, everything can be relaxed and you can have a whole lot more strength in your body if you allow that to happen. So I just wanted to do a little bit of movement like that.
Absolutely,
and
that's great.
Hopefully, people can get a taste of what Tai Chi is about and why you and I are really saying the same things. I'm just applying it to Tai Chi. You're doing the work of actually helping it apply to the rest of their lives, which is awesome.
Which you kind of are too. I mean, not kind of, you are doing that as well, because like you said, you don't walk through this grocery store like, moving. However, if you actually look at what walking is, it isn't so dissimilar to what you demonstrated with the transfer of weight, with the alignment of the cylinder, with the alignment of the lower extremity, with the foot tripod being stable on the ground, then rotating and counter rotating. So what you were demonstrating was just a slower version of what we do in everyday life.
Right.
And and just to reiterate the point of the benefit of moving slow, because one of the things I don't agree with with the industry, I heard it a real long time ago, and they're basically, it's mostly the macho guys that train the athletes, and and again, no knock on those people, not at all. But the one thing I never agreed with is like, they're like, you have to train fast to be fast, and that's why actually this is great, because you are one of the highest level martial artists you can be. 4th degree black belt. I don't know how high they go, but that's pretty high up there. So and you've been taught and you've skilled yourself in how to deliver maximum force with a punch. Now, obviously, at some point, you have to train for speed. But tell me what actually makes, you actually said it already, but I just want you to say it again. What actually gives you the ability to deliver a punch with maximum speed, force, or a kick with maximum speed or force? What actually allows you to do that, or one allows?
Well, there's a few things. Allowing my body to relax, not being bound up and tight. One cannot be fast if one is like this, okay? You're actually destroying. If you watch a boxer, okay, they're very loose. They're until right at the moment of impact. That's when they tense, but then they're relaxed again, because that allows that body to be as efficient as it can be. It's also thinking about moving from here. All of my power is here. All of my power comes from my center. It doesn't come from here. If I try to punch with just my hand, just my arm, it doesn't work. Just like in baseball, if they'd swing just from their upper body, just from their arms, there would be no such thing as a home run. Okay? They have to have that rotation. That power comes from here, and it's just expressed through the hands. That's what we do in Tai Chi. So in order to be fast, in order to be a really good athlete, you do have to learn to relax and slow down and understand how your body is going to move, and then you can speed it up. But you have to learn to be slow first.
Which is really cool that you just said that, because if you read Daniel Coyle's book about how talent is developed, he went around the world studying the talent pools around the world, like this little place in Russia where like Maria Sharapova came from. He went down to South America with some of the best football players come from. Latin football or South American football players come from. And what he noticed was it wasn't just about speed. What they really taught these individuals to develop their talent to the highest level, they're like, it's not how fast you can do, it's how perfectly you can do it slowly. And that's exactly what you're saying. The same thing with martial arts. It's the same thing with Tai Chi. It's like, it's not about being explosive. It's about actually slowing down to align yourself, to be able to rotate appropriately, to be able to breathe properly, to then, I loved how you said it, to express your strength or express your power, express your explosiveness, so to speak. That's why I love everything you talk about, and really getting better at understanding and then also practicing Tai Chi. I mean, it's so valuable for everything we do as posture and movement specialists.
It is. It is one of those things that is, I tell people it's a great cross-training tool. They look at me funny, but I'm telling you, you will become a much better overall in your movement. You can become a much better athlete. You can just be a much more relaxed body, which is a more efficient body. So, and it really is a wonderful form of exercise. And I find it fascinating that, you know, we're on that, we call it East and West, you know, the Eastern thought process and the Western thought process. It's really, we are on the same page. We're not as separate as we might think.
Not at all, which is why we get along, which is why we teach together, and why I'm happy to share your knowledge, your expertise with our community here at the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education.
Thank you.
I understand that you are doing some, is it free trainings? Is it actually free trainings?
Right. For now, when we're locked in our homes, and I really believe in the health benefits of Tai Chi, we're doing 2 live stream classes a week on Tuesdays and on Fridays. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays and Fridays. On Tuesdays, I do individual movements and I talk about applying these principles, things like columns and things like being rooted and grounded, moving from the Dantian. All of those are, I talk about that on Tuesday. We call it principle practice. And then on Friday, we do a form together. I'm making up these forms because, as you can see, this is my basement. I don't have a wall of mirrors in my basement, but they're very simple forms that are going to introduce Tai Chi to people, get them moving in their own homes, helping them exercise. So one of the ways to connect with that, our YouTube channel, we put all of these videos on our YouTube channel, which is Open the Door to Tai Chi. Open the Door to Tai Chi on YouTube. If you just subscribe to that, then you'll be notified each time. You can go back, you can see the whole library of classes. I encourage you to try some Tai Chi because it is a good way to express what you're teaching in the integrated movement system. It's a good way to actually flesh it out in some movement.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for supplying that free resource, because again, one of the things that Janice and I have also tried to do during this time is, I should say, tried to do, we have done for the last month, we just give away tons of free content, tons of free education, bringing out experts. You know, I brought my personal nutritionist on. We brought my buddy Robert Linkle on. You know, we've had now you on. So it's very important that we support our community, up-level our own education, our skill set, our knowledge, so we can be the leaders and support each other and be the leaders that our communities and our future communities, our potential clients need and want. So I want to thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being on. Thank you for sharing the benefits of Tai Chi and giving people a great free resource. And again, it's Open the Door to Tai Chi. That's your YouTube channel, as well as your Facebook channel. And we look forward to having you back on at some point again. And
excellent.
You know, just take care of my friend, and we'll see you hopefully live here in the near future.
I know, I would like that the best, but thank you very much, Evan. Keep doing what you're doing. I really do appreciate all that you're doing. The fitness professionals, you know, take advantage of all of that you have time right now. Up level your own education and start to understand that it's not always about the next best, hardest exercise. We can make our bodies better by actually pulling back and relaxing a little bit, and then we can move forward. So I appreciate your work, and I appreciate you allowing me to, you know, let people know about Tai Chi.
Thanks, Diane. Be good.
All right.
Have a great day, everybody. This is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education, with my good friend Dianne Bailey with Open the Door to Tai Chi. Make it a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.